Hair combs have been fashioned from an array of materials throughout history, ranging from the earliest examples crafted in wood and bone to more intricate designs using materials like tortoiseshell. Despite their similar appearance, one of these combs is an imitation, while the other is made from real tortoiseshell. Tortoiseshell became a popular luxury medium for decorative items in the Victorian era. It is revered for its mottled neutral tones, translucency, and durability. This example of a hair comb is made of tortoiseshell. It belonged to Elizabeth Bonham, who bequeathed her home and possessions to the York County Historical Society in 1965. This comb was likely collected on her travels in 1912 with other members of a group called the Girdlers, where they girdled or encircled the world like a belt. Tortoiseshell has been used for centuries in the West and Asia as decorative veneer on furniture, as well as ornamental objects like jewelry and hair combs, like this example here. Tortoiseshell is an easily manipulated material, which only adds to its value. Tortoiseshell is softened with applied heat and easily molded into elaborate designs that become permanently rigid as the material cools. Tortoiseshell is harvested from the horny outer shell of a tortoise, specifically the hawksbill tortoise, which were and still are hunted in large numbers, despite being declared as an endangered species in the 1970s. This ornate hair comb looks nearly identical to tortoiseshell, but it is in fact an imitation of real tortoiseshell. In 1869, the first successful synthetic plastic was called celluloid. It was patented in the United States by John Wesley Hyatt. Celluloid was made from a mixture of pulverized pyroxylin and camphor mixed together with dyes or pigments added to it, then went through a process of draining with pressure to remove water. After this, it was able to be molded under high heat. After processing, the final product was light, strong, waterproof, and relatively stable. The invention of celluloid allowed for the mass production of inexpensive imitations of luxury items like ivory, mother of pearl, horn, linen, and of course, tortoiseshell. In 1878, advertisement described the celluloid material as being tough as whalebone, elastic and dense as ivory, and was a perfect imitation of tortoiseshell. Working class people now had indistinguishable goods as those in the upper class, especially fashions like this comb. Despite the similarities in appearance, tortoiseshell and celluloid require different housing and storage methods. Tortoiseshell is porous, and the best way to clean this is with a soft brush. This object will need to be stored away from direct sunlight. Prolonged exposure to UV light will cause cloudiness in the material. It needs to ideally be kept at an even, moderate temperature and relative humidity. It should also never be stored near a heater or sources of heat, which can affect the shape since that is how tortoiseshell objects are molded. Celluloid requires special storage and frequent monitoring due to the fact that it is an unstable material. Celluloid materials are sensitive to water absorption because it contains cellulose nitrate. As the nitrate content drops during deterioration, cellulose nitrate can absorb more moisture from the atmosphere, increasing the rate of many water-dependent reactions, which is required for most reactions celluloid will have in its storage environment. Celluloid must be kept in a cool, dry environment to slow the deterioration of cellulose esters. It should also be kept in a well-ventilated area or with acid scavengers to absorb the acetic acid that is off-gassed as the cellulose esters decay. Trapped gases accelerate deterioration, and off-gassing is harmful to any objects around it. So these objects need to be stored away from the rest of the collection. Celluloid is plasticized with camphor, and when celluloid deteriorates, the camphor can sublime or turn into a vapor, and this will make the artifact become brittle and shrink, causing severe cracking of the material, like these examples from our collection. We are going to store our celluloid comb away from other artifacts inside of a plastic bag that will remain unsealed, and then place it in a box with an open lid in order to allow ventilation for any off-gassing that could occur. We will periodically check on these objects to check on any deterioration while they are in our care. And that is how we take care of these celluloid and tortoiseshell combs.